Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a good lunch, but not too good, because we have some good sessions this afternoon to finish off the conference. But I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed the lunch. I enjoyed the fresh fruit that I had with my dessert. Unfortunately, someone pointed out to me that there was a big cake underneath the fruit, but it doesn't matter. In my mind, I had fruit, and that's the most important thing. So this afternoon, we're looking at what you can do today to make your business better. And that's kind of been the whole theme of the conference. But maybe the first two sessions we're looking at higher strategic things. In this session, we're getting a little bit down to detail on what we can do to make your logistics better from today and maybe a little bit more practical. So we've got presentations from a part supplier, a logistics company that's very strongly linked with the car maker, and of course a logistics kind of service provider, but perhaps providing technology and equipment for the industry to give their presentation on what is happening in the industry. So the first presentation, I would like to invite to the stage Rico Lange, the lead commercial vehicle logistics for international production network for Robert Bosch Automotive Steering. Thank you, Rico.
Good afternoon, my name is Rico Lange. I am the IPN lead, as Louis already introduced myself, of the commercial vehicle steering section of Bosch AS. I would like to actually start into my presentation with the motto of the day, and this is acting today for tomorrow. And if we look at this in detail, actually I think we can get a lot of it. The first thing is, if we look at today, and if we then look at Russia, what we see actually is a market that has been struggling over the last years, and I think we all know it very well. But we also see actually this huge country with all its chances. And that leads us to tomorrow. Because tomorrow we see actually, and I think we found an agreement already today, that the market is going up. This is nothing to get crazy about, as Louis already said, but it is showing significant signs of recovery. And this is even better for our business, for all of us. And acting, at the last part here, is showing how we actually take actions to do the transition from the situation as it is today until as it is what we're expecting for tomorrow. So you can see we can derive a lot from here. With that being said, I would like to show you in briefly my agenda here, which has only 2 points today. So I will start with a short introduction about Bosch and Bosch in Russia especially, because this is our focus here. And then I will head over to the commercial vehicles business, which is where I'm actually working in. So starting with that nice picture here, actually, we got to tell that Bosch is doing technology. But it used to be hardware in the past, but it's getting more and more with the internet and connectable things into software. And we're doing huge steps towards that. But the main goal has always been the same as it is, and it will never change. It is to enhance the quality of your life, of the customer's life. And that's why our motto is basically invented for life. And as you can see here in the picture, the woman here is holding a smartphone. And it doesn't even matter if it's like from Cupertino, if it's Apple, or if it's maybe Samsung from Korea. Basically, all those smartphones got a lot of sensors. And usually people have no idea where these sensors are coming from because they're just part of it. But I can promise you, all of your smartphones have technology from Bosch included. Most for sensors for the direction and everything like that. So as you can see, we have a very, very big portfolio, and we are not only in the automotive supplier business, as usually people think when they hear our name. So Bosch is basically divided into 4 business sectors. and as you can see them here. And the first one, the mobility solutions, is a good example actually for this transition, which is also the motto of today, acting today for tomorrow. Because right now we're still working a lot at combustion engines. We're the number one supplier for injection systems and so on. But also we're investing billions of dollars into new technology for autonomous driving, for electrical driven cars and so on, and this is definitely the tomorrow. There's no doubt about that. The same applies for the other three sectors. For example, in the industrial sector, where we're putting lots of efforts into the Industry 4.0 topic, as we're building our plans with our internal companies like that. And for sure, we're also offering these services to any third party. The third point, the energy and building technology, is actually also a good example for this transition for the tomorrow. Because as you all know, I guess the keyword, the buzzword of the smart home is a very important thing for us. And at the end of the day, you got to say that all these connectivity things, may it be from the automotive sector or may it be from the building and technology sector, they are going together. So all of these things are merging. They are not separate anymore. And this also applies for sure to consumer goods, which is not going to be a fridge anymore. It's going to be intelligent. Robotics. So that being said, one more slide about Bosch in general. As some of you may know, we are one of the biggest foundations in the whole industry. We got a little more than 400,000 employees already, so we have actually crossed this threshold, which is here. And we got like $73 billion, euro, of turnover in the last year, which makes us the biggest automotive supplier in the world. And what we're really proud of is that despite all these facts, we are still a German company. And we got like more or less 130,000 people still working in Germany, another roughly 130,000 in Europe, and the rest in the whole world. So we're an international company, but with a strong heart in Europe. If we now look actually at Bosch in Russia, you can see that right now, with the current situation, we already have 8 plants here. The latest one of them actually here is Samara. And that together is seen with a turnover in the last year of already more than €1 billion. You can see that Russia is definitely an important market for us. And this is a market that we believe in for several reasons. Even the headcount is already like with 3,500 pretty high compared to other countries with that size of turnover. So what you see here, we have invested already, obviously a lot of money because we got those 8 sites plus a lot of offices here, and we are intending to do so in the future. And this is because we see the same signs as you have seen on the market. So far for an overview. Let's go into the detail for the commercial vehicles, which is basically my home from the logistics standpoint. So, as we've already discussed, the market is going up. This is going up in general. And we've seen in the last year already those 5% of increase, and we're thinking about even more in that year. So, what is important for us is to understand actually the Russian market and how to fulfill the demands here, because it is somehow working in a different way than, for example, the Western European market. We're going to see this in a few seconds. And for sure, we need to understand the challenges which are somehow unique in Russia. Russia, as you all know, is the biggest landmass in the world. It's the biggest country. And it has like millions of kilometers of roads, which is also, on one side for our product, the steering, somehow pretty hard actually, because the roads are in very different shape, but especially for supply chain, because we got very long ways. Another thing is actually that the Russian winter is something that struggles us a lot. So why is that? Because sometimes in Russia you got like 4 weeks or where a road is blocked by snow or something. It's pretty good if the OEM is also blocked, but that's not usual. So we have to build up our supply chain to fit actually the situation that we cannot deliver. Maybe we can produce, but we cannot deliver. But the OEM is for sure asking for it. So this is actually giving us a hard time. And the last point is here, because of the digitalization, And these fluctuating numbers here, you can see it here in VUCA, we got a lot of challenges in Russia. So in one sentence, we need to understand the demands and we need to understand how to make countermeasures against the fluctuations, which are unbelievably high here. And to prove that what I just told you for the fluctuation is real, I would like to show you those two graphs here. So both work in the same way. It is actually showing two call-offs. So for T, this is the first call-off, and T plus 1 is the second call-off. And you see the comparison of a Western European OEM, anonymously obviously, and an Eastern European OEM, which we see here from that area of the world. And as you can tell, the Western European OEM for sure also has deviations. It has fluctuations, you name it. But it is more or less the same. You see T and T plus 1 are pretty much aligned. For sure there are deviations, but it's normal. If we now switch over to the Eastern European OEM, the picture is actually somehow different. You can see like T is just the way it looks, but T plus 1 is totally different. And basically we see 3 points that I would like to point out here. The first is that we have in Russia unbelievably huge sudden increases of the demand. This is unique. I can tell you we have increases and decreases everywhere in the world, but the size is amazing here. So this is one thing that we can see from here. Where is it? Oh, it's gone. The second point is actually that the T plus 1 is showing that is keeping a high interest level here, which is triggering for sure the start of investment. Basically the same as in Western Europe, but here this is not the reality reflecting because you can see afterwards the graph is going down. So investing would probably not have been the best idea here. And most significantly here, the third point, the question of the mid and long-term ordering. As you can see on the left picture, it is like over the whole period T, but on the right picture, the last, let's say, third is missing here. And this is also very significant for the Russian market here. So as you can see, fluctuations are normal, but the fluctuations in this part of the world, they are way higher than we see in the rest. So question is, how are we dealing with that? And there are actually 3 main points that I would like to go into detail with you now. The first thing is what we call demand planning. So I guess everybody now says I have a demand planning too, for sure I do. But what we do is actually we're planning on 21-month basis each different product on each customer in each plant in the whole world, and we do this every month. So how we do this actually, and this is actually the core of our planning, is not only that logistics is doing this or sales is doing it on the other hand. The point is actually communication is everything, is what we found out. It doesn't make sense that the organization has 2 different point of views and it's not aligning each other. So we are putting together the logistics view, which is mainly based on the experience of our planners, and they know your market very well, they know all the markets. The second point that we align it is with the sales. So the sales can like be including a build plan, as it's here on the 4th point. It can be communication from the OEM. It can be any information that sales has. And the last point is for sure the actual orders. So you see, for us, there has been a change. We don't rely only on the OEM orders anymore, but we say like, okay, we think about it and we weight them against the past, against the experience, and against other sources, even macroeconomic ones. So this is giving us, in our eyes, the best possible demand plan that we agree on, and that is also triggering all our capacity situations and also the supply chain to our sub-suppliers. The next point is actually to increase the flexibility within our global production network. So I told you before, I'm responsible for all the commercial vehicle steering plants here. So that means we have plants in Brazil, we have plants in China, we have them in Germany, in Hungary, in Russia, and even in India. And the idea behind this flexibilization is that we say, okay, we want to be able to deliver all the products as soon as possible and as fast as possible, but for the same price and the quality. That means all our sites need to be able to produce the same products with very short changeovers here. I mean, not like technical changeovers, but like plant changeover. And for sure, with all the approvals from the customer side being valid all the time. And this is a big challenge, but what actually is the result for us is that we are very reactive. And this helps us actually to fill your orders, your OEM demands, and even those fluctuations. And the last point is what we call the bottleneck management, also something that is existing, I think, everywhere. But we have changed the way how we do it, actually. So it's not like everybody is doing his own bottleneck anymore. The question was really for us, how can we introduce standardized processes to recognize bottlenecks? What is actually a bottleneck? What do we call a bottleneck? So we have standardized everything there, and even now we're at the point where we say, even if we don't have a bottleneck in all the plants, we realize very soon where our parts are going, where they're coming from, and where we could maybe face a problem also in the mid and long term. And this will prevent special transports and everything, a lot of costs there, and satisfy our customers more. So for sure, we manage them, we learn them, and our final target is, as I said already, to prevent them. So all these measures together are our answer to those fluctuations that you have here, especially in the Russian market. And as far as we can tell so far, they're working very well. Thank you very much. Спасибо.
Thank you very much, Rico, for giving us an overview of one of the biggest part suppliers in the world and the important supplier to the automotive industry, and how your global plans, what your global plans are, and how they fit into Russia as well. The next presentation looks a bit at the quality and damage side of the industry. So I'd like to welcome to the podium Dmitry Obukhov, the Claims Handling and Transportation Quality Control Team Manager for Glovis, Russia. Thank you, Dmitry.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые коллеги.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. My name is Dmitry Obukhov. I represent Glovis Rus company, and the Claims Handling and Transportation Quality Control Team Manager. The activity I'm going to tell you about today in Glovis Rus is divided into two main components: claims handling and developing measures to manage quality. In brief, I will tell you about how we started, about the parameters we achieved, and our possibilities in terms of claims handling. Glovis Rus started claims handling activity in 2011. Not an easy task was to start the greenfield claims handling system for the company, the most objective one, and also to raise the quality of the logistics service to the level of logistics company, leading companies in the Russian market. It all started with one person in the team. Nowadays, our team has 9 people working in it. Up to now, we have handled 21,000 claims, have refunded more than 265 million rubles to our customers. Our possibilities in terms of claims handling are more than 200 claims a day. We control the activity of more than 350 dealerships of our customers, including claims handling, acceptance of vehicles, and quality control. We control 6 compounds in terms of quality, and also cooperate with all the companies that transport vehicles in the Russian Federation. The main service we provide to our customers comprises of 4 stages. First, claims handling, and trying to find the party to blame. also preparing all the documents. We also provide services in terms of cost calculation. We can check the calculations that dealerships have provided to us, and we may calculate the repair costs from zero on the basis of data.
реагирование на претензию со стороны контрагента виновной стороны и предоставляем электронную базу данных по всем обработанным претензиям, а также
We provide the electronic database on all the handled claims and all the car damage. In 2011, we used such a schematic at the very outset. This schematic has got two major disadvantages. First one being a very high amount of insurance fee, and in most of the companies delivering ready vehicles, they ensure that it's dual insurance. And if distributors are insuring the risks of cargo damage, the insurance company is not paying out the full insurance fee. In case of referral from this insurance dealer, could be paid the whole amount. Another disadvantage of the system is about the fact that each party to this process, and they're plentiful, is given some time for claim handling. In 2011, such a deadline was about 120 days on the average. Nothing to be proud of. We started figuring this out and came to a conclusion that the system should be fully modified and redefined drastically. And we developed and implemented the following system. The system of claims handling in electronic version. The system is quite flexible. It can be fine-tuned for the needs of any customer whosoever. Does require extra settings. It's enough to connect to internet and the conventional internet browser. After we've taken on board those measures, we managed to cut the deadline for claim handling all the way up to the payments tenfold, from 120 to 12 days. How did we achieve that? The data online is transferred. That is, a dealer center gets the damaged car, downloads all the documents into the system, and within 2 or 3 minutes, it's possible to get down to handle the claim, to find the guilty party, and to transmit that claim to the guilty party, either warehousing operator or transportation company. But nonetheless, it was necessary for us to cut costs. And in time-wise and cost-wise for handling the claim, and the system was improved, and we developed the electronic digital signature. All the scans we were saving from those documents became quite legitimate. That enabled us to cut even more the deadlines for claim handling and all the way out to payment from 12 to 5 days, and record low is 3 days, sometimes more than 3 days. That way we also cut the costs for transferring the correspondence, because in the previous two schemes, in order to reimburse the claim, the book accounting office needed originals. Electronic signature and electronic version doesn't require that. And by the same token, we cut the cost for delivery of those documents by postal service, by courier service, and so on. The beauty of this scheme, all the advantages which we used in 2011, all the pros and cons. There is one advantage: all the risks are insured. Disadvantages are way more plentiful, like the amount of the insurance fee, double insurance, inferior control over the actions of the insurance company, because it's not always clearly understood when and how the documents would be processed. And on top of that, insurance companies typically are asking for extended list of documents in line with the rules of insurance, which is not necessary, provided we are handling this claim directly directly with carriers, way less documents. And we can, by the same token, to control the deadlines for payment and to have a saving in labor resources. The advantages of our scheme, I've described that. There is no need to have the cost for insurance. We saved more than 100 million rubles per annum, and the deadlines from 120 days were cut to 5 days, actually. That is the time for handling of the claim. And we improved the quality of the service as well. Major goals which we set out for ourselves when we were developing the measures to prevent damage. First of all, it was cutting costs of transportation companies for reimbursement of the claims. Second important factor is that now it's much less time for reinstatement, repair. If there are no big damages, this car could be sold by a dealer center rapidly. And finally, we're dealing with reassured customer and the enhanced trust towards our brand on behalf of our customers. There are generally accepted and well-known methods to develop prevention measures like 5S, for example, but they have got one implication. Mostly they are manufacturing or production-oriented. We decided to redefine this system to fine-tune it for the logistics sector. And we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. And the first thing without which we wouldn't exercise this activity are those the major stages. We took as the foundation the manual ECG about handling those cars and so on. We developed those standards for Russia. I mean, we fine-tuned that. Also developed the system of audits to control by contractors if they really exercise those instructions. There were uniform standards for the assessment of damage of the cars by all the parties in the process, transportation companies and also the dealers and throughput documentation for the car, like Peter said. And demurrage was developed as well. But after a while, we figured out that this system doesn't give us the result we wanted. So we added that up with some other things which are based on quality assurance standards and KPIs, the system of audits. We added up the control of the vehicle fleet of our contractors to that. The vehicle fleet should be serviced and should undergo technical survey. It should be equipped with good fastening elements and be able to transport the cars in a safe way. Another stage was the online implementation, online training for drivers and their testing. As the outcome of this, as the deliverable, we received highly professional drivers. The access of the cars and drivers is only allowed if the first two stages of control were met. The system of measures which we developed within our company is quite straightforward at the end of the day. Online system of claim handling enables us in due time to receive data on the damage. Notionally speaking, when we were getting a claim half a year after, maybe it was way too late to do something. Now we get the cross-section of these data, statistical data for 1 week. We analyze it, look it through, and jointly with our contractors, we develop the plan to improve the situation. Closer by the end of the quarter, the contractors fill us in on what they did, their action plan, and we analyze their results. Provided they reached this result, we get all the way back to point 1. If the result was not accomplished, we look through the cross-section of actions and see what they didn't manage to do. And currently, and when we do this analysis, we adopt some extra measures. Same happens to our assessment of drivers. For each driver, we have this potential indicator of damage ratio if it's overexceeded or there is the gross violation of the driver of the different rules. We block him in our system unless he undergoes extra training. After this extra training, we examine him. If the exam result is successful, the driver is allowed to continue transportation works. We made some investments, and after 5 years of work along those lines, we can offer our customers and our prospects as well high quality service on claim handling, which consists of 4 stages. And our suggestion is that we should digress from this kind of from insurance. We offer the service online, service on claim handling and electronic digital signature. That's what we use. That way we cut the time for all that work. So we saved more than 100 million rubles per annum for our customers and cut down from 120 to 5 days the deadlines for claim handling. And we developed our quality assurance system so that online we can train, get the exams, and get the assessment, final assessment of driver's work. That's it. Thank you. Большое спасибо.
And interesting to see what Glovis are doing with their partners to improve and try and solve some of the damage and transportation claim issues and trying to, improve communication to make this more efficient. Sorry, I dropped my paper. Just a reminder before the next presentation that you should have evaluation forms. I don't know if they're on your tables or if they're in your delegate packs. But for those of you who are crazy enough to leave early, please complete these evaluation forms. Our conference is your conference, so to help us to make sure we do the right things and build the right conference for you, please complete the evaluation forms and let us know your opinions. And talking about not leaving early, if please stay. The final session is a great discussion, gives us a chance to cover some of the issues that we've discussed today and some of the things we never had a chance to discuss. And of course, afterwards there is a dinner, an extra networking dinner, just in the hotel to continue your discussions and to do some more networking. So please don't leave early and make sure you join us for the rest of the conference. Next up, a presentation perhaps about investing in Russia, whether investment needs to come, and we'll be hearing some ideas, why, how, and wherever, from a company and a man who, whenever I ring him, seems to be in Russia. So I think he should change his name from Picco to Picco or something like that. I'd like to welcome to the podium Alberto Picco, the Director of Sales for Rolfo.
Hello, everybody. Yes, for who of you don't know me, it's Alberto Picco. I'm working in Rolfo. I have the privilege to work in Rolfo over 17 years, and from 10 years I'm the sales director. My activity in Rolfo started in Russia, so it's deep inside my heart. I apologize. Today I will not present you any forecast on the next 5, 10, 15 years. I prefer, and I know that you will share with me the opinion that we are all grown enough to know that for Russia to make forecasts is extremely difficult. And I want to talk with you about what is next, what is already going on, and what you will see in the next couple of months. We talk about current fleet on car carrier, on vehicle carrier. We have done this presentation results I will show you today. It's a result of large talking with all the operator in the market, sharing information, point of view, and that's how it is the situation. So there are signals of market recovery. Market is growing up again. That's good. It's something, it's what we call, what you say, a positive problem, so it's okay. There is a question we have to answer. Is there still a fleet of vehicle carrier available and strong enough to support this? Well, the better way to answer you is to show you what happens during the last 10 years over new car carrier investment and purchase. And as you can see, there has been a large purchase. We all have enjoyed consistent growth between 2005, 2008. 2009 and 10 was, let's say, very calm, relaxed, we might say like this. Again, there has been a rise in 2011 and 2013 with different demand, more focus on the regional national transportation, while before it was more international transportation, but the market changed, that's normal. But as you can see, the volume of the investment was less consistent than the previous one. And actually from 2015, there has been practically no investment. So what is today the size of the carrier fleet we have in the market? 4,000, 5,000? No. We got 3,000 car carrier. That's it. That's it. And out of these 3,000 car carrier, there is 1,800 that they are still in reasonable condition, but they are from 4 to 9 years old. There was idea to make a split also of these 1,800, showing them how many they were from recent years and how many they were more aged, but then it was sounding a little bit of dramatic or willing to make a little bit of too much push on the market. We have 600 that they are really old, really old. And the last 600 is what we call the ghost fleet. This is very close to be dismissed. There is a lot of wish, a lot of push from the supplier to keep them alive, but really they have done their way and they are far tired. Okay, we are still working and operating with a fleet of 10, 12 years old. Sometimes it happens to me to talk with somebody and is telling me, yeah, but at the end of the story, you know, it's easy. The car needs to be transported. A carrier is a carrier. You just need to make some service. Well, it's not really this. In the last 10 years, the world has changed and the challenges that they are in the market, they are enormous and tremendously different from what we had before. And the performance, the complexity, the quality requirements we have just seen with the colleagues of Glovis and yesterday talking with the other colleagues. So situation dramatically changed, and today we have a consistent, robust megatrend in the market. The megatrend are for the OEM, but of course they go also for the LSP, for the logistics service provider, that they have to be looking at and sizing their fleet accordingly. We have 3 main megatrends that they are related to the electrification, hybridification of the vehicle. Some of you could tell me, yes, but to transport, what is the difference? Oh, there is a huge difference. We are talking about an average difference of from 3 to 500 kilo different for a diesel car or a hybrid car. We have done a lot of tests, mainly on European side, European region, during the last 12 months. And we are building up really a culture on this direction. So vehicle that they are getting more heavy, vehicle that they are getting larger, wider, and as well there is a consistent pressure, requirements, attention from the OEM for a matter of quality and performance. That is normal, we have to cope with. So what is in reality the fleet that up today could fit the megatrend? 60%? We have to be optimistic. How Rolfo can support the new mega trend and the news we have in the market? Well, we are very well known in Russian market with our semi-trailer Blizzard. It's a project that I started personally it was 2003, 2004. When it was started, it was a little bit like a crazy project, but it showed that it's okay. In 2011, we have presented the Blizzard 3, and today, this month, is going on a presentation in the market of the new version, the 3.3 version. It's not a revolution, okay? When you have a product that has showed good results, is tested, is well exploited in Russia, mainly in Russia, you cannot come and present a brand new project. It's not possible. It's an improvement. It's something done on the direction of the larger vehicle, extra safety for the driver, safety for the vehicle, and to answer better to the KPI that just before we have been mentioned. This year, it's also the 50th anniversary of Rolfo, because probably not everybody knows about that, but we have made our first delivery to Russia some years ago, in the '67. It was to After us. Of course, the semi-trailer were looking slightly different, the car as well, but the concept is the same one, the company is there, and that's the technology and evolution. So on the Blizzard 3.3, as I show you, as I told you before, it's not a revolution, it's an adaptation, it's a continuous improvement job to the new size of the vehicles. I try to took some different type of cars and vehicles to be neutral. The main improvement have been done on the available volume for the loadings to keep. Sometimes people is asking me, could you increase the loading factor? Can we load plus one car? My answer is always the same. It's already very good. If this growing size of vehicles, we keep the same loading factor. That's already a good target. So adding volume, keeping the same payload. It's very, very important, mainly in Russia, like it's growing important also for Europe, for all these controls and checks that they are doing on the road in terms of weight control, weight and axle on the semi-trailer, on the truck. And as well, the project of Car Protect. Car Protect, it's a new project that has been launched in Rolfo. It's 2 years ago. It is a study and an engineering KPI we are always taking into consideration in order to protect the vehicle loaded on the carrier in the environment that has to be operated. So there are different attentions and cares if it is operated in Europe, if it is in Russia, and so on. What we have, of course, loading factor. In some cases, we can increase slightly the loading factor by one car. They are really limited. We have not to dream too much. In other cases, the loading factors remain the same, but the size of the car loaded, it's really interesting and amazing, as we are showing during this set of presentation that is currently going on. How to support the fleet renewal and extension? Well, presentation of today has to be considered a little bit like from a neutral position from our side, to say what is the situation for the LSP and for the OEM, just to think about, to make some food for thought. And the situation is the following. The car transportation, vehicle transportation, it's not a commodity. It's not just simple transport. It's a business done by people, highly specialized, highly skilled people, highly skilled equipment. The equipment required a large investment. It's not like to buy a general cargo semi-trailer or even a Frigo semi-trailers. So really, the size of the investment is remarkable. And of course, all what is around the exploitation of the vehicle is very important. Why? Because the driver is not a driver. He's also driving. But that's just 40–50% of his activity. The main activity is to load the car. Is there where you have the human that is giving value to the activity. And these drivers, you cannot manufacture. We have been trying to do this a couple of times, but the result was not good. So it takes years to train, to find them, to train, to keep them up to date. And for the OEM, I think, and as well for the LSP, it's extremely important to keep this in mind. So it's a value that must be preserved, must be accompanied, and there is really a lot of understanding that needs to be done between the two parties in order to preserve this value. Also because without a driver, I can build you the best car carrier possible, but there will not be capacity. All right? Something that we don't have to forget for today, for what is going on for the next month, is that the capacity shortage is there. Probably this summer, not everybody will feel it because it's a matter of very good and very high exploitation of the vehicles thanks to the environmental, thanks to the good climate situation. So the tracks, they are running a lot. But in September, as soon as the bad season will start again, September, October, the shortage will be there and will be for sure severe. And then talking with both sides, I don't want to step down and talk about price at all. It's not my bread, it's not my specialization, I'm not there for this. But I think that it's necessary to build up some scheme of cooperation, fair-to-fair basis, to support the growth, to support the renewal, and to offer for sure a capacity to the OEM. So that's it for the moment. I hope you enjoy the presentation. If you need some more information, don't hesitate to ask me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Alberto. Thank you for giving us an update on the state of the finished vehicle logistics market or the equipment market, both the trucks and the trailers. So interesting on what perhaps needs to be done, but also maybe understandably why it hasn't been done so far. But it's an issue that has to be addressed at some stage. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Now we are on your part of the conference, the Q&A, the questions and answers. So again, the usual rules apply. If you have a question, please raise your hand, wait for the microphone to come to you, and then the question can be in Russian or English, but not German, Frank.
I try in Russian. Good afternoon, my name is Frank Lehner from Altman Group. I have a question to Alberto Picco. Alberto, in regards to the trend, and we know it in Europe, the already existing mega trucks in the general cargo, how do you see this opportunity also for the car carriers?
Thank you for the question. You hear me? Yeah? Okay. It's a case that we have been studied already deeply, also because we are supplying this type of solution for certain market and not only in Europe. There are a couple of things that need to be taken into consideration. Is that at the time being there has been a requirement for 6 or 7 axle on the convoy that make us forced to have certain type of structures. And we have done an analysis on what brings as a benefit to the transporter these mega trucks, okay? So in all this extra space, how many cars I can store there? 1, 2. Why? Because the configuration of the 20 meter, 75, 21 meter, 20, 25, okay, there are slight changes in Europe, but nevertheless, it's over 20, 30 years that all the car carrier manufacturers are very focused there. So the platforms, the product have been so much optimized that really you have excellent performance in terms of loading factor. Bringing to 24, 25 meter, it gives an impact on the investment size that is enormous. You have a car carrier that is costing double, easy. It's loading 2 cars more, 1 car more, in certain cases with very small size of car, 3, all right. Extremely difficult to be loaded for a driver. You need really highly skilled team. And then you have something, vehicle that is not really flexible, cannot be deployed for any other type of transportation. The moment we have, let's say, in the last two years and a half, we have seen the wave of interest in Germany, then in Spain, but it's not really going on. Nevertheless, we are here, we are available, so if something is needed, we can go on.
Okay, thank you. Question from the young man.
Анатолий Иконников, группа ГАЗ, входящая логистика.
Group Logistics Department. In your presentation, you said that the Russian market is predictable. To better satisfy its demands, you plan to increase the flexibility of your production. How do you plan to increase your flexibility in terms of fulfilling the orders?
Mainly, actually, there's the most important thing about flexibility, and then for fulfilling the orders, because this is what we do to do so, is to understand which products are running in which market and which are running in which plant in the world. So, seen from the products that are running in Russia and all these fluctuations that we were discussing about and the issues and struggles in the supply chain, we're saying we're focusing on those projects or on those products, and then we say, like, on all the plants in the world, we need to be able to produce as many of them as possible. I'm not saying 100% because this is surely not impossible. Yeah? But the strategy behind this, have as many plants as you can, which are able and which have the approvals from the customer, like you, for example, to produce those ones. This will increase the possibility that in case of sudden increase, right? We've seen this in one of my slides. We will be able to fulfill your demands, because it is not only the question about capacity, right? Internally, it is also the question about transportation, time, waste, and so on. And it's also the question about our sub-supply chain, our own suppliers, their material approvals again, capacity, and so on. So all of this has to be considered. It's a tough topic, but it is a topic that works for us.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Again, a question for you, Rico, is you know, Bosch are well known for their global strategies, processes, efficiencies. How is it in Russia? Are you able to implement the same strategies that you have in Germany in Russia? Or are there extra difficulties in particularly for working with Russia?
Okay, this is a tough question, to be honest. This is a tough question because of many reasons. First one is this is something that I would say you need to ask someone who has like 15 years of experience in the Russian market, and obviously I don't have them. Secondly, this is a question which is tough because the process that we have in, let's say, Germany, we are a German company, they are the standards, and usually they make a lot of sense. However, you have to see the market, you have to see the situation, you have to see the culture behind. I tried to point it out with some of my slides, actually. And unless you understand these factors, right, and you sometimes adjust even the best standard to them, then you will fail. So the question is, what can you adapt, which is like, I think, 90%, maybe even more, and where are these 10%, and how to recognize which one to change and which one not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Any questions from the floor? Young lady.
Елизавета Коршунова, группа ГАЗ. Вопрос у меня по рынку автовозов. Вот вы сказали, что у нас ожидается нехватка подвижного состава в ближайшее время. Какое количество вы оцениваете эту нехватку в штуках, и к какому росту тарифов может привести, если перевозчики примут решение все-таки расширять парк под потребности растущего рынка?
Okay, so can I just ask that I couldn't hear the translation then, so I don't know if we can. If maybe even the yeah, if you can for now. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened there.
You said that it is not enough trucks in Russian market, and the question is how many trucks should be additionally added to satisfy the demand for transportation, and what is expected increase of tariffs in the market if transport companies take decision to invest. Just
Вот, спасибо на вопрос. Очень простая. Ситуация
Thank you
следующая.
very much for your question. And the situation is as follows. Since the transportation company will invest into new careers, you have to understand the goal and the price. In terms of numbers, maybe we fulfilled some forecasts and checked maybe some 400 or 500 auto careers are needed tomorrow from September, October. And this is the information that was received on the basis of data, big data. But we'll see. This question is of great importance, I'm sure. I'm sure that your suppliers are already worried about that.
Thank you very much, Alberto. I just want to use the red and green cards in front of you again, just for a quick vote. I just want to ask if Alberto, his Russian, actually sounded Russian. Please put the green card. If he sounded like some crazy Italian guy speaking some new language he has made himself, please put the red card. So let's see if Alberto's Russian was good. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay, thank you. Mostly positive, but I think there are some people.
Somebody understood something.
Yeah. No, very good. Thank you. Any questions?
Здравствуйте, компания Havel Motorus, руководитель отдела логистики. У меня вопрос к Дмитрию Обухову касаемо претензионной работы. Очень интересный, собственно, сервис вы предлагаете. И мне, как ОМ, очень интересно для наших...
Are offering a very interesting service, and my question is to Dmitry Obukhov. You're offering a very interesting service, how to reimburse the money, refund the money. But my question is, what is needed for your decision to be sufficient proof that the damage was really there and you reimburse the money? The package of documents, in fact, cannot consist of only one act of damage because this list is regulated by the legislation. In accordance with the legislation, we need 3 documents. The fact that the damage is confirmed, then the way bill or the fact that proves the transportation, and the document that proves the expenses for the works provided. 3 documents are sufficient.
Any questions?
I'd like to ask a question, please, Louis.
In English or Russian?
Deutsch. Alice Newton, Automotive Logistics. The next issue of Finished Vehicle Logistics, the July-September issue, has a focus on car covers versus films. And this is a question to Dmitry, please. The claims management system that you've put together is incredibly efficient, but how far back do you look with regards to the findings of the damage that you're establishing? What materials would you consider to reduce the damages and ultimately the claims that you're paying out on? When do you make that decision to look at materials for protecting your vehicles in transport?
In fact, if we speak about the system and the information it contains, the documents that I've listed, the calculation of the repairs, the way bill, and the passport for the vehicle, there are photographs as well. As I've mentioned earlier, all our customers, dealers, and contractors have a unified system or standard to evaluate the damage. On the basis of the photographs, we can come to the conclusion which repair or what repair is needed. Then we compare it with what the dealer told us. We can select in accordance any spare part within the framework of our competences out of what we have on the Russian market. With those with whom we do not have any contracts, we cannot select. On the basis of these documents, we can make a decision whether we satisfy the claim or we dismiss it. And the contracts of our work with the dealers are envisaged by the contracts. We cannot exceed the framework of these contracts. This is a kind of tripartite agreement.
We have been using this practice when there is the export transportations and there is a tripartite agreement, and we agree beforehand. Statistical data we use during claims handling, we figure out which component is damaged most frequently, and we can pinpoint the reason and do the troubleshooting, which will enhance drastically the quality of our service.
Okay, thank you. Another question for Dmitry is, how is Russian damage control compared to other countries? Do you have any data, or not specific data, but is it the same as other countries? Is it worse, better than other comparable countries?
Well, it depends on what to compare against. We don't have a clear-cut data, but we have got a data for Glovis company group because it's international company. No other data available for benchmarking analysis.
So with the damage control, in tough times like this, does this make damage control more important to save costs and to save money, or does it become tougher as companies, maybe the transportation companies or others, try to become less efficient as they try to save money on some things and end up spending it on damage that is happening?
На самом деле ситуация по сравнению
Well, I myself have been around with claim handling since 2007. The situation about damage prevention done by logistic companies and operators did not change drastically over that time. We have to act as a customer, that is sort of impose what we want on our contractor or our measures to prevent damage. Some rejoice it because it's free of charge service. Some stand this off. I don't know why they are against it for some reason.
Question right at the back over there. The young lady, that's it.
Добрый день.
Good afternoon. Technovisa company. I'm Evgenia Shabana. I have a question from Dmitry. From the standpoint of a transportation company, it's common knowledge that the requirements for quality are getting sterner and sterner, and the loading factor higher and higher. Correspondingly, there are high risks of damage due to the enhanced density of cars placed on the vehicle carrier. The problem aggravates because of that. Dmitry, what's your take on it? Is it acceptable, and is it legitimate that some customers demand the reimbursement of damage not on a confirmation that the repair was done by the dealer, but based on the calculation or some other type of calculating this damage? Thank you. That's a good one. I'm strictly against reimbursement of claims without the official documentation. we managed to persuade the customers that the dealer's repair should be confirmed by documents. To speed up the process, price calculation, cost calculation is good. And before dealers get reimbursement, they can embark upon the repair and hand over the repaired car to the customer. The reimbursement should be done only on the basis of the work done, on the order placed and the work done by the dealers. Of course, there should be feedback to the dealer. Let's say a dealer is saying that there is a big spoil, the big damage of the car, so of the window, so the glass should be replaced. We talk to the dealer and we demand extra pictures. The cars with these cut across the glass and the large image of the license plate, and actually they should be the same. Damage shown, actually, those pictures are necessary. Does it comply with the concept of payment within 5 days? It's not possible to do it within 5 days. Or is it? Everything's possible for within 5 days. Great. Thank you.
Any more questions from the audience? No? Okay, then I'd like to thank the panel once again for a very interesting and honest discussion. Please join us for the coffee break and be back in here for 4 o'clock. For those of you who are leaving early, please complete the evaluation forms. They really are very important for us. Thank you.